The UK's unelected House of Lords is attempting to shut down a proposed law that would allow legalised assisted dying in that country. British MPs passed the bill in the House of Commons last June, but delays in the House of Lords meant it might not become law. Crystal Gamansingh is tracking the latest on this in London. Crystal, the House of Lords still talking about this legislation, but it doesn't look like it's going to become a law. What's happened?
Yeah, that's right, Susan. The House of Lords is currently still discussing this right now, but it is guaranteed to fail. We're talking about the Terminally Ill Adults End of Life Bill that would have seen it possible for adults in England and Wales who have been given a diagnosis of less than 6 months to live, who have had their request to end their lives approved by 2 doctors and a panel, will not move out of the House of Lords. In fact, it didn't even get out of the committee stage, which is why we know it will fail when the session ends today. There are a number of individuals in the House of Lords, including Charlie Faulkner, who said he is despondent that the House of Lords didn't do their job, that this was legislation that came to them approved by the House of Commons. The House of Commons did their due diligence. They had hours of debate. It went through multiple readings, multiple amendments, yet it didn't get past that committee stage in the House of Lords. On the other side, we heard from members of the House of Lords, including Jane Campbell, who is a disability rights advocate, who said they just needed more time. They needed to ensure that all of the safety procedures were put in place before this went ahead. So she is not necessarily as upset that this is going to not move any further than the House of Lords. Take a listen.
I'm acutely conscious that the role of this House is not to rubber stamp legislation. It demands that we draw upon our knowledge, our experience, and research evidence to demonstrate why revision is necessary. And most importantly, to insist firmly that a bill is made safe before it leaves us. That is our constitutional duty.
Now we talk about revisions during the time at committees, Susan. More than 1,000 amendments were made to it, the majority of those coming from just a handful of members in the House of Lords, which is why a number of people, including advocates for this bill, say that this was the House of Lords, in fact, choosing to stall this bill rather than enact the will of Parliament.
Crystal, amongst the reaction, is there a sense that this effort will be killed entirely, or that this will be reworked again and go back?
Yeah, so it is hoped, at least, that this will be reworked and go again. So this was passed by the House of Commons in June of last year. There was a lot of work that went into it, a lot of people advocating for and against it. There were multiple rallies. I was out at that vote at the House of Commons the day it happened in June of last year. There were large rallies, and it wasn't a guarantee that it was going to pass. The vote that saw it pass was 314 to 291 on that day. And so even the fact that it got through that historic vote was seen as a success. And advocates have been trying on multiple occasions to try and get this legislation through. That was the closest they've gotten to. It's believed that there will be a petition to try to rally MPs so that when there is a next session of Parliament, they'll all come together to try and bring it back. This was a private member's bill, and that has to go through a balloting process to even just get it to the floor.
So what happens now and how fast? You've talked about possibly coming back. Is that a long-term process, do you think?
Yeah, that is a big question, and no one really knows if it will come back. There are a number of MPs who say this is just not the will of the people, not what they're focused on right now, given the cost of living, given the security issues. But there are advocates who are saying that this needs to come back, that they will not stop fighting. There was a small rally at Parliament ahead of the session in the House of Lords where a number of advocates really tried to get their message out of why this needs to come back and how they won't stop fighting for it.
We've been campaigning, and some of us are quite poorly people, obviously, but we're undeterred. We shall just carry on, you know. We shall fight for as long as it takes, and I'm absolutely certain that in the end we will be successful and we will have law change.
How and when that will happen, Susan, we don't know. We anticipate petitions to be handed to MPs later today.
All right. Important update. Thank you very much, Crystal.